Hello. Did you know that Kentucky has a lifetime ban on voting for individuals convicted of a felony? This restriction was established in 1891 and remains in effect today. Join us in exploring how our Commonwealth came to such a practice. Kentucky remains one of 3 states with a lifetime voting ban for individuals with felony convictions. Originally intended to address public corruption, this provision now denies over 152,000 Kentuckians the sacred right to vote. Kentucky's first 3 constitutions, 1792, 1799, and 1850, did not prohibit voting for individuals with felony convictions. In fact, these constitutions focused on honoring the sacred right to vote and protected citizens from being arrested going to and from the polls, except in cases of treason, felony, or breach of peace. However, the 1850 Constitution restricted voting to white male citizens, violating the 15th Amendment. For nearly 20 years, lawmakers failed to gain support for a convention until they changed the rules, allowing a convention to be called by a majority of voters from the previous year's election, instead of all registered voters. The 1890 convention took place in a time of widespread corruption. Bribery, vote buying, and fraud in elections were rampant. The state treasurer had even fled with nearly all of Kentucky's money on March 14th of 1888. In response to these concerns, delegates proposed a provision barring individuals convicted of treason, bribery, and election fraud to protect the integrity of Kentucky's elections. Delegate Rhodes addressed the committee with his concerns.
Now, if there is any danger in the world to our institutions, it must grow out of impure elections. If the ballot box is once thoroughly corrupted, it leads, of course, to misunderstanding. Let this germ enter into social systems, and it will grow and spread.
In contrast to the racial basis that shaped the enactment of felony disenfranchisement in other former slave states, the Kentucky Convention's record suggests that the primary purpose for delegate support for the provision was a concern over electoral fraud. As delegates Applegate and Blackburn confirm,
"We are all agreed that the purpose of this discussion is to protect the ballot box from fraud and corruption, and the only difference between us is as to the best mode of accomplishing that purpose.
We shall never succeed in elevating the ballot by statutory law, but we should throw it about all the protection that the legislature can, and every means should be resorted to as possible to prevent bribery and corruption."
Based on the convention's record, some Kentucky delegates sought to prevent corruption, but their broad approach mirrored Southern efforts to restrict voting and permanently denies voting rights to anyone with a felony conviction, unless restored the right by executive action. Kentuckians, it's time to update Section 145 of our Constitution. Join the movement and secure the sacred right to vote for thousands of Kentuckians with completed sentences. Visit able-ky.org to donate or sign up for our newsletter to become a volunteer and learn more.
Brought to you by Advocacy Based on Lived Experience, or ABLE, a 501c3 fiscally sponsored program of the Kentucky Civic Engagement Table.